Okay, what are you saying, people, and welcome back to another live stream. Now, before we get into this, make sure you join me on my Telegram channel. Left a link to that in the live chat and the description below. Post a lot of different trading setups there throughout the week, so make sure you go check that out. But like I said, another live stream, talk you through what's going on in the charts today and see if you've got any opportunities coming our way. So I'm going to start with AUD USD. So you can see with this one kind of in the middle of a daily range here. So if I just jump to the daily chart, you can see we've got a clear level of resistance there around 0.78 and a clear support here in the market, so which is around 0.6500. So price is kind of stuck between these two levels here for AUD/USD. You can see we've had a couple false breakouts now. We've had a false breakout there, meant to go and test the trend line, push back in, another false breakout to the upside. Now price is right back in the middle. So I think we could see a longer move for AUD/USD, depending on where we break out to. If we break to the upside and hold, we could potentially go a lot further to the upside and just see the overall bullish trend continue for this pair. However, if you break to the downside and hold below that support, and again, that will be breaking through that trend line as well, so that trend line will be acting as resistance. So if you break below that trend line and that support, hold as resistance, I think price could be in a potential counter trend move to the downside, or maybe even a reversal, and see price move a lot lower to the downside for AUD/USD. So we're kind of still stuck in this daily range. So just waiting to see which way price will break out to. If I jump to the 4 hourly, you can see price is looking a little bit bearish here, but again, not very clear, very choppy price action. We had a nice push to the upside last week, and as you can see, we're falling to the downside this week very correctively. So again, in terms of direction, not very clear because we're still stuck between those two key levels, that resistance 0.78 and the support around 0.76500. So just depends which one price wants to break through. Probably on a daily close above or below those levels to indicate a break and see price retest and hold, and from then we can actually determine the direction for AUD/USD. But for now, we're kind of just trapped between these two levels, so can just be expecting to see further corrective moves, very choppy price action between those two levels until we see an actual breakout. GBP/USD, however, is starting to look very bearish now. We're back below this level here in the market, which was previous support for us, giving us a nice move to the upside. I do believe we're actually below a daily trend line as well, which gave us really nice support last week. So if I can hit these lows up here, so again, initial test there, second, third, fourth, fifth test, and looks like we're actually closing below that level there. So if we get a daily close below this trend line, could indicate a breakout and seeing price move to the downside a lot further. Again, it is very early in the day. We still got another 12 hours before that daily candle closes, so it could potentially pull back up. However, if it doesn't and it looks similar to how we're looking now there on the daily, could expect to see further continuation to the downside. You can see in the 4 hourly time frame we're looking very bearish as well. Strong close to the downside there for GBP/USD, coming back into this previous support here where we consolidated. So again, not very clear where GBP/USD is going for the time being, but if you start to see daily closes below this trend line, it could mean we're seeing a bigger push to the downside and see GBP/USD retrace a little bit further, and from then on could actually see GBP/USD go a lot further to the downside and start to retrace that big bullish run we've seen in the past couple months for this pair. So right now for GBP/USD, we've had a big strong close to the downside, so it could be expected maybe a retest of that trend line, see if price can hold below it and, by the end of the day, and then from then could be expecting further continuation to the downside for GBP/USD. USD CAD, we saw a nice push to the downside last week, breaking back below that support key level, which is 1.26, and now we're back at that previous low. So right now price is getting a bit choppy price action there. Again, we've had a push to the upside. Now price is kind of just moving sideways there. We've got this support here in the market, which was our previous swing low of the market where we found support, had a really nice push to the upside, saw a lot of bullish momentum from that level, and currently right now we're kind of just trading along that level. So if we do find support with this level, there is a possibility we could see a nice push back to the upside. Again, maybe not similar to this level of momentum, but we could see another push because again, price could still look to retrace to this bearish leg here. It's around halfway before continuing back down maybe. But if you were to get back above that 1.26 level, probably indicating a bit of a reversal potentially, and see USD CAD go a lot further to the upside. But for now, kind of just moving sideways, so not very clear as terms of direction for USD CAD. But like I said, if you do hold this level here, which we're finding support at, as you can see, nice push to the upside, could get a similar push as well, maybe not as far, and then could actually see price turn back around for USD CAD unless we start to look very bullish, like the similar momentum that we had there. But in this case, you can see we're very corrective here, so could see the price push up a little bit further before maybe retracing back down. USD JPY, for this one, again, starting to look very corrective as well, very choppy price action. As you can see, we're back at the recent highs that we tested last week, where we came down, had a bit of a retracement there, another push to the upside, and as you can see, not a lot of momentum right now for USD JPY. A lot of small body candles there. So again, it does signify that price is slowing down in its journey to the upside, and could actually mean that we might see a bit of a breather for USD JPY after the big push we've had to the upside. So could see a bit of bearish movement now for USD JPY, and maybe see price back at this previous support here. And if you take out that level, could actually see price fall to the downside a lot further. So we'll be watching out for that for USD JPY. But right now, not enough bearish indication for us to go short it, just because very small body candles there, and in fact the last candle closed bullish as well. So again, not quite ready yet, but it does have potential to short because we are losing that momentum. But right now, price is still technically bullish, so wouldn't be looking to short that, but could see a nice push to the downside there. USD CHF, for this one, kind of just dancing around this key level here on the daily. So if I jump to the daily time frame, you can see previous resistance here, nice push to the downside, broke above it, then broke back below, so indicating a bit of a false breakout there. And now price is kind of just a bit indecisive and just trading along this level here for USD CHF. So you can see if I jump to the 4-hourly time frame, had a nice push below, looked like price is going to hold and see further continuation, had another push back up, and now price is kind of just moving sideways along that level. So I think this level will determine the direction for USD CHF. If we're able to hold above it, can expect price to come back to highs and potentially even a higher high actually, and just see this overall bullish trend for USD CHF just continue a lot further. However, if we do break to the downside and see price hold that level as resistance, could potentially see a bigger move to the downside, maybe back into 0.1790, which is this level here, previous support, which gave us this really nice push to the upside. So previous resistance will be turned support. So I do think if we do hold that current level as resistance, could see another push to the downside for that level, maybe even further, because you can see last time we were at this level, we did see a big bearish reaction to the downside. So that is still possible there as well. But right now, price is a little bit indecisive, kind of just moving sideways along that level. So just determines whether price will find resistance at that key level or support. And right now, it's kind of hard to tell because we're just moving sideways here for USD CHF. So eye open for that. But right now, very indecisive now for USD CHF. Next, if we take a look at NZD-USD, so for this one, similar to AUD-USD, here we do have a couple, two levels here, which price is kind of stuck trying to break here on the daily time frame. So you can see this key level of support. If we're to break through this support, I believe NZD-USD could see a bigger push to the downside and see actually a bit of a reversal now, because kind of right now for NZD-USD, we're kind of just moving sideways. You can see price action hasn't really gone anywhere. We had that big push to the upside, then price came straight back down, indicating that was a bit of a false breakout there. Retested it, fell to the downside again. So it looks like we could be seeing a break to the downside, but we haven't broken through that level yet. So wouldn't say that we're having a breakout just yet, but it is looking like price could break to the downside and see further continuation. However, if we do hold that level, it might mean that price could go a lot further to the upside actually, and actually see that overall bullish trend just continue for NZD-USD if you do go and break above this recent resistance here in the market. As you can see, previous swing high there, acted as resistance once, broke above, broke back down below, retested as resistance again, then fell to the downside. So if we break above that level and hold, I do believe price could go a lot further to to the upside, and maybe even further potentially, because again, the overall trend for this market is still bullish, even though we are moving sideways for the past few weeks, maybe a month or so. But right now, for the USD still trapped in that range, similar to AUD USD, still trapped in that range as well, and looks like price could break to the downside, but again, not overall too sure whether we will or not. Next, going to take a look at GBP AUD. So GBP AUD for this pair, again, very choppy on the daily time frame. As you can see, price action has just been moving sideways, very unclear. If I jump to the 4 hourly, we are looking a little bit bearish here. We're holding this level here as resistance. So if I just zoom out a little bit, you can see nice resistance all across here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and now resistance again. A little bit of false breakouts there, but now it looks like we're holding firmly below that resistance there. So I think personally GBP is on its way to the downside, back into this support here, which is kind of like the support of this range. So we've got the resistance of the range for GBP and the support for that range, and looks like price wants to come in back down and test the support down there, which is around 1.78, I believe, for GBP. If you see a breakout to the downside, could go a lot further back to lows potentially, but it does look like we've got a lot of GBP weakness in the markets today, so that could help GBP give it the extra kick it needs to see a fall to the downside, because we are rejecting that resistance very well. As you can see, we tested it yesterday, I believe, and saw price reject that very strongly. So looks like price could be on its way back down to 1.78, which is like the low of that range, and then potentially even further if you see price break out that range. Could actually be seeing price come all back to lows, like I said previously. But GBP, I think we'll see a nice push back into 1.78, potentially even further as well if price decides to go and break through that level. Euro JPY, this one's been very bullish for the past few months now for Euro JPY. As you can see, recently we created some new highs there, taking out our previous swing high in the market. So as you can see there, previous resistance broke above. Our price is moving a little bit sideways, but overall still bullish here, even on the daily time frame. As you can see, price is making those higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. So really nice price action for Euro JPY to the upside, and overall price is looking very bullish here. It does look like it is losing momentum. As you can see on the 4 hourly chart, we've had that push to the upside. Now we're starting to see bearish candles coming in, starting to lose that momentum, starting to get a bit of a curve there in the market as price is making higher highs with the wicks. Now it's looking like it's making lower highs. So could see a bit of a retracement now for Euro JPY after this big push, as you do expect after the market makes a higher high. You do expect to see the market retrace eventually and go make a higher low. So I think for Euro JPY, it looks like it's getting ready to have a push to the downside, make that higher low, or could actually see price break to the upside, making one last push before that happens. But overall, it does look like price is losing that steam, and we could see a push to the downside for Euro JPY. But again, the price action isn't too clear, so I wouldn't be too confident in putting any sells in just yet. But right now it does look like it's losing momentum and could give us a sign that it wants to retrace in a little while. So we'll keep an eye open for that. But overall right now, a little bit too sideways for my liking there for Euro JPY. Next, going to take a look at GBP/JPY. For this one, it looks like we've had a really nice push to the downside here. Again, you can see we broke above that prior resistance here in the market. So this resistance here, we saw a lot of momentum come to the downside. We broke above it, held it as support, and saw another push to the upside there for GBP/JPY. So we were looking quite bullish there for GBP/JPY. Now we are starting to look quite bearish here again with that GP weakness we're seeing in the markets right now. Looks like we'll see a push back into this key level here. So for me, it just depends where price wants to hold or break through this level. If price breaks through the level, could actually see a bigger move all the way down to 148 for GBP/JPY. A really nice swing to the downside back to this support here. However, if you do find support at this prior resistance, you can see it's a good strong level, sort of a lot of momentum come to the downside from that same level. So it looks like we're coming with a lot of momentum back into that level. Again, holds at support. I believe GBP/JPY will be back to the highs very soon, maybe by the end of the week. Or however, if you break below that level and hold as resistance, I think we're going to see a nice push to the downside all the way down to 148. and potentially even further, because remember GBJPY in the higher time frames is very extended, so we could be seeing a sharp retrace for this pair in the next couple of weeks potentially. If I could just go to the weekly time frame, you can see we still haven't had a bearish week for the past, I don't know, about 10 12 weeks there, so we are due some retrace now for GBJPY even on the weekly time frame. So could see that bearish move come a lot quicker and go a lot further as well, just because the higher time frames are so overextended and they need to retrace sooner or later. So with that information with that information in mind, if you do see price break back below this level here, I'm definitely favoring a move back to 148 and potentially break through that and go a lot further, because again the weekly time frame is extended, so could see a weekly level retrace. But right now price is looking bearish here for GBJPY. It's broken through this trend line here, which was keeping it in a nice steady uptrend, broken through that, coming into that level there, break below probably 148, hold back to highs is what I'm favoring for GBJPY. Euro GBP, this one's looking very bullish here. Again, GP weakness helping this pair out, having pushed to the upside, but holding that key level of support which I was talking about on my weekly analysis videos that I did last weekend. So you can see really key level of prior resistance in the market on the weekly time frame. So again, just being aware of the higher time frames here. Prior resistance here, you can see we had a really nice sharp move to the downside, broke above. Again, I think that was pretty fundamental reasons, and now we're back at that same level, which was prior resistance, now turned support. Now as you can see, it wasn't really retested, price just continued to the upside. So this is our first retest since we broke above all the way in February 2020, so over a year ago. Now we're testing that level again, and as you can see on the 4-hourly time frame, we came to that level, bit of consolidation, broke to the upside. So I do believe now for Euro GBP, we'll probably see a little bit of retrace come to the downside a little bit, but I do think we can make a way up to 0.87, which is this key level here in the market, where we tested as resistance once, came down. So I think for Euro GBP could see a bit of a range coming in between these two levels here in the market. Again, if I just jump to the daily time frame and I take this across, you can see this level was prior support here in the market, really strong support, which gave us a nice push to the upside. We broke below that level recently, held as resistance and crashed to the downside again. So I think price is wanted to come and have another test of that same level. Whether it breaks above, not too sure if price would do that. But right now it looks like price is definitely wanting to have another test of that level, which is around 0.87. So a bit of retrace for now for Euro GBP after this big push. But I do think possible movement all the way up to there, which is good around another 70 pips for Euro GBP. So that's not bad there if it's get a bit of retracement and expect price to continue to the upside for Euro GBP. We're going Euro NZD for this pair, again very choppy recently. If I go to the daily time frame, you can see we've had a really nice downtrend here in the market. So if I just draw this trend line, so price making lower lows, lower highs, you can see a clear downtrend. But for the past about 10 days or so, price has just been consolidating in a really nice neat box. As you can see here, price is just moving sideways, giving us a lot of indecision candles, strong body candles as well. But again, they don't make too much of a difference when the price is just consolidating like that. When you see strong closes above or below this box to indicate which way price will go to. So right now, again, very indecisive now for Euro NZD, sorry. We do have this trend line here, so if price was to break above that trend line and close outside that box there on the daily time frame, could drop to the lower time frames the next day and look to capitalize on a potential breakout to the upside for this pair, which I believe we could see a breakout potentially to around this level here, which was our prior support here, term resistance, which was our previous swing high. So if you do break to the upside, I do think we'll see a move into this level here, which is a good amount of room for potential opportunity around 130 pips. So if you do see a strong close above this box and above that trend line, could look for potential breakout there to the upside. However, if you still see daily closes within the box, we still do have that indecision, and price is kind of hard to tell which way we want to go. So if I was to drop down to the lower time frame of the 4H, you can see very, very indecisive, and price is a bit all over the shop. Right now we are looking quite bullish, but then again we could see the next day price come straight back down. So again, very indecisive, but if we get the strong close above this box here, could see a nice breakout into that resistance up there for Euro NZD. And likewise, if we just see a close to the downside, so say price comes back down the next day, we see a nice bearish close below that consolidation. If price then holds the consolidation box as resistance, probably see price come all the way back to the lows here, which is around 1.63, and potentially even see a lower low, because again we still do have that that bearish trend here, and we do have this trend line here which is acting as resistance as well. So you can see a first test there, if I zoom in, first test there, second there, and recently had a third test. So that third test could give us the push we need to come to the downside, but then again we're currently consolidating and anything can happen really. Could break to the upside, could break to the downside, but just be able to adapt on which way price could break. But it could be a nice opportunity to the upside or to the downside for Euro NZD, depending on which way we break out to. CAD JPY for this pair, again very, very bullish recently. You can see in the daily time frame we broke through this key level. It actually goes to the weekly, so we've got this weekly level here, really key level of resistance here on the weekly time frame. As you can see, when we test this level, we do see nice bearish reactions to the downside. Recently though, a couple of weeks ago, we closed above. I did say we'll probably expect to see a breakout now for CAD JPY. And it looks like we're probably coming up to 88, which is the level I was expecting price to come to, which is this resistance here around 88 here. I still believe a little bit further room to the upside for CAD JPY, but again you can see we're very overextended here on daily, so it could be a situation where we have a couple of days retrace first before we get that last kick to the upside to around 88. So I need to be aware of that, because again the daily is very overextended, and so is the weekly as well. But right now on the 4-hourly time frame, we've had a nice push to the upside for CAD JPY. As you can see right now, price is kind of just moving sideways here. A lot of low momentum candles here, very small bodies, couple wicks to the downside, but again very indecisive here for CAD JPY. So I could be seeing a continuation to the upside, because it doesn't look like sellers are winning right now. Just looks like we're consolidating in order for another breakout to the upside. However, if you do see a break to the downside, could see a deeper retracement, maybe back to that previous swing high in the market, which is this resistance here, which will act as support, and then could see the continuation back up to 88. But right now we just have that consolidation for CAD JPY, so could see a breakout to the upside, could see a breakdown, but for me there's no real clear opportunity there. Again, bias long term is still to the upside. I think we could have one last kick into 88, which is that previous weekly resistance here in the market, which saw a lot of momentum come to the downside, which is the level I think price is probably looking to go and head to. So I still believe a little bit further room to the upside for CAD JPY, but we are due some retrace before we might hit that level, so you need to be aware of that. But right now, like I said, in the 4-hourly time frame, kind of just moving sideways and not seeing much happening there with CAD JPY. AD JPY, I'm currently in a short for this one, looking for a move to the downside for AD JPY. So we've currently got this key level here of resistance here in the market. So if I just highlight this out on the weekly time frame, so we're coming to this key level here on the weekly time frame. You can see really nice support prior to that, really nice resistance where price is consolidating just underneath it, and eventually collapse to the downside. So we'll come all the way back to that level. We're very overextended here on the higher time frames, and since we had that big kick to the downside recently, as you can see for ADJPY, big kick to the downside for that same level, we're coming back to that same level again. We're retracing very corrective price action, so expecting this to be an impulsive leg, retrace, and expecting another impulsive leg to the downside for ADJPY. And it also looks like we're breaking out this consolidation here in the market. So as you can see, the past couple of days or so for ADJPY has been very very sideways, and it looks like this candle here is actually closed below those bodies, and it looks like it wants to have a breakout to the downside. So I've gone short there for ADJPY, looking for a move to the downside. Again, I'll probably treat this in stages because I think the end target would be this support all the way down here, but I'm aware there is levels that could reject price and see it go against me. So first got the resistance around here, so that will be first target area, and then second will be the support, then third would be that support all the way down here, which is where I'm looking to target for this trade. And stop loss is just above that recent swing high, so if I take this across here, stop loss is just above there. So looking for a move to the downside for ADJPY. Just gone short on that close on the 4H. Looks like we're breaking up that consolidation, so looking for a move to the downside, and if it goes against me and then breaks through that resistance, we'll exit the trade and just take the loss there. But yeah, looking for a move to the downside for ADJPY and see if we can get a really nice push to the downside there. I'm still in a long for Euro USD, which I was in the long last week. So again, I did show that trade last week. So we did have a nice push to the upside. Trade was going quite well. Price then went against me. As you can see, we're kind of just consolidating right now. So I did say that if price was to close below this level here, so this was like a price support, prior resistance, turn support, kind of a key level here in the price action in this area. So if you were to close below this, could act as a resistance then and send price back down against me. So since I've already closed some profit when we're up there, there's no point in me really staying on this trade for too long. So if price does break below that level there, I will exit the trade completely. But if you don't and find support, I'm expecting to see another swing to the upside for Euro USD, potentially back to 1.21, which is the end target, which is that resistance here in the market, which sent us down a couple weeks ago. So that's the end target up there for Euro USD. First target was 1.2, which we sort of just reached there, so I took some of my profit, but right now price is just holding onto that level. So I'm going to see what happens with Euro USD. If we get a strong close below, we'll look to exit there, but long in Euro USD and short on ADJPY right now. I'm just going to see how these trades get on. If anyone else has any trades wants to share, just put it in the live chat. I'll make sure I'll take a look and give you some of my opinions and maybe some pointers as well. But yeah, looking for me to the downside. If anyone wants me to look at any different charts and just want some analysis on that particular chart or pair, just put it in the live chat and I'll make sure I'll give you some analysis on those pairs. But yeah, just looking at ADJPY Euro USD and seeing how my trades get on for the rest of the day. Okay, so I'm going to take a quick look at gold and GPUSD. So I'll start with GPUSD. So for this pair, we're looking very bearish right now. We've actually broken through a daily trend line here in the market. So you can see first test there, second, third, fourth, and recently had a fifth test. So again, for a breakout, you want to see a daily close rather than a 4H close. So by the end of the day, if we're to look like that and see the bearish this daily candle look bearish and close below that trend line there, could actually see a longer breakout and see GPUSD start the trend to the downside actually. So we're breaking below a key level here on the 4H, which is this level around here, closing below that trend line. So we're coming back into this support here in the market. So again, I think we could see a bit of retrace now for GPUSD, maybe back into this level here to act as resistance. So a bit of retrace, retest it as resistance, and then could see the continuation to the downside to help that daily candle close below. So for this pair, we're starting to look very bearish now. Price is failing to break through this 140 level here, which is the level that I said price needs to break for in order for us to come bullish again and probably see price come back to the highs. But as you can see, we had another push back to that level. Price got rejected. Now was closing below this level back at this previous support. So for GPUSD, I'm favoring more to the bearish side now for this pair and could actually see price go a lot further. So for now, I'm expecting to see a bit of retrace and probably see price go and break through this support in the market and just start to see a bit of a bearish trend now for GPUSD. Looks like it's had its bearish run and price wants to start to retrace a little bit further now before maybe kicking back in to that move to the upside in the next maybe few weeks or months. So right now for GPUSD, I'm favoring a bit of a pullback to the upside. As you can see, very strong close to the downside there in the 4H. So favoring a bit of a pullback, but then further continuation to the downside for this pair. And like I said, could see a nice retrace back into this level here. Then expect the continuation, taking up those lows and seeing price go a lot further. But for confirmation that this bearish trend could kick in, you probably want to see a daily close. Daily close below that trend line, which looked like could happen, but we still got about 11 hours or so before that candle closes. So a lot could happen then, but right now we are looking very bearish. So favoring a bit of retrace, then a continuation to the downside for GPUSD. For gold, for this pair, it looks like we had a really nice push to the upside, but so far price hasn't really kicked off yet. I thought we could see a push into this level here for gold. So if I zoom out a little bit, you can see here on the daily price support there in the market. I was looking for a retest of that as resistance, but price is running out of momentum and doesn't look like it might get there. We probably need to take out this resistance here in the market for us to get that kick. So if I just remove this trend line here, you can see nice resistance here, sent us to the downside, test it again, another bearish reaction. Now we're slowly coming back into that level. So if we take out that resistance, the probability of us coming back to this highs is quite high. But however, if we don't and we see another dip to the downside, it could mean that price is failing to take this level out and giving us another lower high in the market. And then from then could actually see gold come all the way back down to lows and potentially even further. So I'll probably stay, keep an eye on the price action around this level here, because I think this price action in this level will probably determine the direction for gold. So right now it looks like we're running on momentum. As you can see, we've had that big push to the upside there in the 4H. Then ever since then we had those small body candles, a lot of indecision around this area. So it's telling us that price is losing momentum as it's coming back into this strong level. And if you want to see price to break this level, you want to be seeing much more momentum than that. So if we do hold this level here again and see another push to the downside similar to the price action here, I think we'll probably see price come all the way back down to lows and see price come a lot further and just continue that overall bearish trend we have for gold in the past few weeks now. But however, if you see price close above this level here, I think could be a really nice setup for a long back into that resistance, that daily support term resistance. So kind of at an indecisive area for gold right now, but if we do hold this as resistance, which it does look like it could do, could see price go a lot further back down to lows again. So that's what I'm favoring for gold. But however, if we do close above, could open up a really nice opportunity to go along back into that level. So it's just a matter of staying reactive and not predicting too much in the market, just staying reactive and just seeing what the market gives you. If it's showing us that we're rejecting that level quite strongly, similar to the rejection we had here, could look for sales to take this back down to lows. However, if we close above and start holding, could see price come all the way back to highs again, and back to that key level, which is around 1770. So for gold, key level here determines direction, and GPUSD probably want a daily close below that trend line, but since how bearish we're looking in the 4H, I do expect further continuation to the downside for GPUSD, favoring a bit of retrace, then continuation back down to lows, and probably see a new low as well. So hope that analysis helped. Okay, so we can take a quick look at GPUSD, ADUSD, and ADJPY. So I'll start with ADJPY. I'm currently in a sell position on that one as well, looking for a move to the downside. Looks like we're breaking out that consolidation, so looking for a move to the downside after that close there. We're back at this previous level of resistance, and as you can see, last time we were here, we saw a lot of bearish momentum to the downside. So expecting to see that impulse move, this push to the upside is just retrace, looking for that continuation back to the downside. So we're coming back into a very key level on the weekly time frame. So if I just go to the weekly quickly, you can see this level here in the market. So if I just highlight it here, which is all this level all across here, is all previous resistance here in the market. And as you can see, last time we were at this level, we saw a really nice push to the downside, and actually the market came all the way back to these lows here from that same level. So this is the first time the market has visited back at this level all the way since 2017. So very key level of resistance in the market, looking for that move to the downside. So again, we're back at that same level, and when we first tested it, we saw a lot of bearish momentum to the downside. So this push to the upside is very corrective, as you can see, very, very choppy. So expecting to see this to be the start of a new impulsive leg to the downside, looking for a move back into this level here, which is where we got rejected from. But again, do you have some targets within that area, because we could get rejected and see price turn the other way. So looking for a move to the downside, stop losses above that previous swing high there. GPUSD, like I said earlier, for this one, expecting a continuation to the downside, but probably going to see a bit of retrace first, since how bearish we were in the previous hours before that 4H candle close. You can see on the hourly chart, big push to the downside. So I'm expecting some retrace, potentially back to this level here. As you can see, really nice support resistance all across here. Might come back and test that level, then collapse to the downside again. As you can see, we've broken this trend line here on the 4H, but again, probably want a daily close below this trend line. So you can see first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Now we're having that six sort of test, but it does look like we are breaking through it. But again, we've still got about 11 hours before that daily candle close, and a lot can happen in 11 hours. We could pull back up, and in fact close bullish there. So you see a daily close below that trend line there. But if we do, and we start holding that trend line as a resistance in the 4H, could be a sign that we could be seeing a bit more of a bearish trend to the downside, and that bullish run we've seen for GPUSD could be over, and we're starting to see a bit of a retrace and a counter trend move to the downside now for GPUSD, and it looks like it could be happening. So favoring a bit of a retrace for GPUSD to start off with, because again, we're back at that previous lows there. As you can see, support all across here, we're back testing that same level. So expecting a bit of retrace, maybe back into that trend line or back into that key level there, then could see the continuation to the downside, creating some new lows there for GPUSD. ADUSD, however, again, this one's a little bit choppy here, so we're kind of stuck between a key level of support and resistance here on the daily. So if I jump to the daily, you can see really nice resistance all across here. There's 0.78 barrier, and this level here, which is around 0.76500 key level of support. Price is kind of stuck between these two levels. Last time we had a break of the support, we saw a false breakout here, price closed below, bit of consolidation, closed back above, another false breakout there, and a slight false breakout there as well. But overall, price is stuck between these two levels, and we need to see price hold, break above or below, and hold one of these levels for us to get a bit more direction in the market. But right now, overall, it's a bit choppy for ADUSD, so we're kind of trading between those two ranges there for this pair. So could see price maybe fall back to the downside again, come test that support, maybe look to go and break it. But right now, it's very unclear for me, so I'm not too sure which way this could go. Probably waiting to see a break of one of those levels, and then look to capitalize on that move in that direction. But right now, kind of stuck between those two levels, so could expect to see a bit more indecision there. But again, we do have some bearish structure here, so it could take us back down to the support. But overall, it's quite indecisive for ADUSD. But again, if you do break that support, could see price really take off to the downside for ADUSD. So hope that analysis helped on those three pairs. Okay, so we're gonna have a quick look at CHF and Euro CAD. Okay, so I'll start with CHF So for this pair, I'm expecting to see further continuation to the upside for CHF I think we could be seeing price coming all the way back to these highs here and potentially even higher than that, because you can see in the daily time frame we had a strong close yesterday. It looks like we are closing above this key level of resistance here in the market, so we could be seeing a breakout to the upside and price continuing all the way back to the previous highs. As you can see, last time we had a breakout here, we retested, continued all the way back up to these highs here. So I do think we'll see CHF continue to the upside. Looks like we've retested there as well. So yeah, it does look like it's holding. You can see currently right now it's very, very bullish. We're down to the hourly, big push to the upside there. So I do believe CHF is on its way back to highs again, and potentially even a higher high back to 119 if you do see an actual breakout of this pair. But yeah, biases to the upside for CHF and I think could be seeing some new highs for this pair, unless we were to come all the way back down and break underneath this level and hold. Then I'll probably change my bias and probably see price come all the way back down again. But right now, you see how very impulsive it is. It looks like it's holding above that level, had a strong daily close. I think we're going to see price come all the way back to highs and potentially even a higher high. Euro CAD, on the other hand, for this pair, again, it's very, very bearish here. As you can see, big push to the downside. Even though I go to the weekly time frame, we're coming back into this area here in the market, which is a strong area on the weekly time frame. As you can see, really nice support, held us when we're moving sideways, broke to the downside, held as resistance, fell to the downside. So this whole area here on the weekly time frame is a really key level in the market, and we could be seeing a bit of a bounce. So I do think for Euro CAD we could be seeing a bit of a deeper retracement now. As you can see in the weekly, very impulsive leg to the downside, daily as well. So I think we'll do some deeper retracement now. I wouldn't say quite a reversal, but I would say we could be seeing a deeper retracement now to the upside for this pair. I wouldn't favor price continue down much lower. We might see maybe one more push to the downside or a couple more, but I don't think they'll be too impulsive. And I think the bigger move now is to the upside, looking to retrace, since we're coming to that key level there in the weekly. We do expect to see a reaction from a weekly point of view, so it could be a case where we see another push to the downside, and by the end of the week you see the market retrace itself. So for EuroCAD, could be seeing another push to the downside, because you can see the bullish price action here, very low momentum here, so it does indicate this is just a smaller pullback and could see another push down. But if we start to see some impulsive bullish candles come back to the upside, it could mean we'll start to have that deeper retracement now, and could see price come back to that previous resistance up here, or potentially even a little bit further, maybe halfway between a previous major swing to that low here. So I could see price go a little bit further, but I do think we're starting to see a bigger push to the upside now for EuroCAD. But it might be a case we have a couple more pushes to the downside first, just because there's not really much bullish momentum there in the market. So might see another push to the downside first before we get that move. But I think the bigger move for EuroCAD is to the upside, and CHF I think we're going to continue to the upside and probably see some higher highs soon, maybe by the end of the week for that pair. So I hope that analysis helped. Okay, so we're going to take a quick look at gold. Okay, so for gold, I believe we're trading at around the key level here in the market. So for gold, you can see really nice area of resistance here. So first time there sent us to the downside, again sent us to the downside, and now we're testing it a third time. So I believe if we do hold this area of resistance, we could actually see price come back down to the lows again, rejecting that third time, saying that price is failing to break through that area, and probably just see a continuation of the overall bearish trend for this market. However, if you do break through this level, I do think gold will see a nice push to the upside back into 1770, which is this key level of support and resistance here on the daily time frame. So you can see daily previous support there in the market. We didn't really get a retest of this level, so there's still a good chance we could come back and retest that as resistance now. So for gold, I think we could see another push back into that level, but we do need to take out this resistance first, because if we do hold this area, it could actually send us back in the opposite direction, back down to lows again, which is 1680. So bias right now is a little bit indecisive. I think we can break through it, but then again we are losing momentum there. So if we don't and we hold as a resistance, there's a good chance back down to 1680. So I'll probably just keep an eye on the price action around this level. If you see a nice candle breaking above, closing and holding, then we could see that continuation back into 1770. However, if we don't and we fail to break through it, and we see price give us a strong bearish candle similar to what we had here and there, could see it movement all the way back down to 1680, and just see a continuation of that overall bearish trend. So just going to see what happens with the price action around that level, but we do have targets in either direction, and just need to stay reactive rather than predictive. Okay, so we're going to take a quick look at ADJPY. So, okay, so for this pair right now, I got in using the 4 hourly time frame, so I expect to see a breakout to the downside here. Again, we still do have about an hour and a half left before this 4H candle closes. We still did close outside of that consolidation, so it could just be a retest to continue to the downside. But I would say this trade would probably have a lower chance of working out if we were to see actually price close back above this resistance here. So close outside the consolidation to the upside, then there's probably a high chance we can actually see price push on and go create a higher high after that. So right now I'm still going to be holding my trade. Again, just closing back into the consolidation. So there is a chance that we could see price push on back above, but it could just be a retest to continue to the downside. So I'll beware if price was to close above here, so close above those highs there, then I'll probably say there's a good chance price could turn around and just continue to the upside, create higher highs at that point, and could see that previous high get violated and broken through. So I'll probably be more concerned if we start to do that, but right now I'm still going to be holding my trade, looking for that move to the downside. If price was to continue to be bullish, close back above that area, I'll probably look at maybe exiting my trade or maybe closing some positions off, because there's a higher chance, or a fairly high chance, we could take off in the opposite direction. So I'll be aware of that, but right now we've still got an hour and a half left, so we'll make a judgment on the closed candle rather than the candle that is open, because again it might look bullish now, but then in an hour and a half it could be bearish. So I need to make a judgment on when the candle closes. Yeah, I'll take a look at Euro USD now. So yeah, Euro USD currently in a buy position for that one. I'm expecting to see a push to the upside. We do have, if I just draw this level here, if I take that across, so again, we do have this resistance here in the market, which might be the level that you're talking about. Price support here is taken across, is causing it as resistance. So I do expect to see that resistance level get broken, because my bias is to the upside for Euro USD. I think we could be seeing a move all the way back to this level around 1.21, which is this previous resistance up here, which sent us to the downside in the first place a couple of weeks ago. So I do think we'll see the resistance break. Of course, it's not for definite. I don't know what the market will do. I can just speculate. If the market will hold and get rejected from that same resistance level, we could see the market come back down. In that case, I'll look to exit my position. But if we do see a break of the resistance, which is what I'm favoring, could see price continue to the upside and go a lot further, and probably hit that 1.21 level potentially. But still holding my Euro USD trade, looking for that continuation to the upside, and see if we can go hit 1.21. But if you go break through this support now, I think we could actually see the opposite move happen and see Euro USD go a lot further. Okay, so it's just gone 12 p.m. So I'm going to look to end the live stream shortly. Going to do a quick rundown of some of the pairs that I looked at earlier, and also some of my trades that I've got on as well. So AUD USD, like I said before, kind of stuck between those two daily levels there. A strong day level of resistance in the market, going across there around 0.78, and a strong level of support, kind of keeping the market just moving sideways. I'm treating these as false breakouts there, false break to the upside, false break to the downside, and as you can see, we're just continuing in this little bit of a range between that 0.78 resistance and the 0.76500 support. So we do also have this trend line here, so prices just kind of getting trapped between the trend line, the support and the resistance, and just need to see which way price wants to break out to. And I believe if we do break out, well, the next time we break out, we could actually see the longer term direction for AUD/USD and actually start to see the market start trending a lot better. But for now, we're kind of just trapped between those two areas. A lot of indecision in the market. You can see the current price action on the 4-hourly time frame, very corrective. So again, not too sure which way price could go, but kind of again, just start between those two areas of resistance and support, and just need to see which way price wants to break out to. Euro USD, I'm currently in a long position, looking for a move to the upside, looking to see if we get a move into 1.21. Again, do have that resistance just above me, which could reject price back down again, and if it does close below this level and holds, I will exit my trade completely. I already did take some profit when we're up here, but then as you can see, the market has come back down against me there. So it's going to see what happens. Right now, we're kind of just moving sideways between the level I drew there and that resistance just above. So just need to see which level breaks, and then if it breaks to the upside, look to trade it up to 1.21, which is this resistance up here. However, if it breaks to the downside, we're looking to close that position. GPUSD, we're pushing up quite strongly actually. Looks like we'll come back into that level, so it'd be interesting to see if it holds as a resistance or not. Again, like I said, you probably want a daily close below that trend line, because by the end of the day we could actually close bullish or above that trend line at least. So you do need to see price get rejected back down again to see it close below that trend line in order for us to start favouring a longer move to the downside for GPUSD. But right now it does look like we're pushing back up, so just interesting to see whether this area here of that resistance, of that level of that trend line holds as a resistance, or do we close back above and this was just a bit of a false breakout, and in that case could see a longer push to the upside. But again, need to work on candle closes. Right now the candle's still open, we could pull back down. So again, just need to see how the candle closes and then make the decision from then. USD CAD looking very bearish here again. So like I said, we're kind of just trading along that support. If we do hold that area, could see a bigger push to the upside. But if we do close below, some tower looking now, could actually see a longer move to the downside for USD CAD, and just see that overall bearish trend for USD CAD continue. And like I did say, I do expect to see 1.24, which is kind of the next level for USD CAD reached. Again, it might take a little bit longer, but 1.24 is not too far away. I think USD CAD still has a lot of potential in reaching that level. USDJPY, however, looks like it's seeing a bit of a bearish reaction now. As you can see, failing to take out that that recent swing high. We're losing a lot of momentum, and it does look like we're breaking to the downside there. If I drop to the hourly, you can see we're kind of breaking off to the downside past this trend line here in the market. So it looks like we could be seeing price hold that resistance and seeing a bigger push to the downside. In that case, could be seeing a drop back to that support, maybe even further if we break past it. But for now, looks like we could be seeing a move into that support. But again, wait for the candle closure. It still does have, I believe, another hour left before that candle closes, so it could pull back up and actually close bullish. So be aware of that. USDCHF, favouring moves to the downside for this one. Looks like it is holding that level as resistance now. Like I said, previous daily resistance all across here. Looks like it is holding as resistance, and for that, I do think USDCHF could be on its way back down to around 0.92 level, or maybe even a little bit further. But I think we could be seeing a nice push to the downside to around this level here for USDCHF. So currently I'm in EURUSD, which I just talked about, and AUDJPY looking for a move to the downside. Again, it did look like price was breaking out this consolidation here for AUDJPY, but it looks like it could be closing back into it. So again, if price starts to break to the opposite direction, probably might be looking to exit the trade then, because then there's a good chance we could break to the upside and create some new highs at that point. But still looking for that move to the downside and see if we can get a nice retest and a continuation to the downside. So we'll see how that trade gets on. We'll let you guys know tomorrow during my live stream how that trade gets on as well. Similar for my EURUSD long trade, we'll let you guys know how they develop. But that is the end of the live stream. I hope you all enjoyed it and found it useful. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and also leave a like on the video if you're feeling generous. But again, thanks again for watching, and until the next one, I will see you guys later.